Hello, and welcome to the Tiny But Mighty podcast, where we celebrate small businesses exclusively, always. Hi, I'm E. I'm your host, and I'm also the owner and founder of Main Street E-Market. I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I hope that you will subscribe to this podcast channel so that you can see all of these interviews as they come up.
All right, we are officially starting our live stream at this point. I am super excited for first interview here with Farm Mama Soaps, and we have the owner and founder, Christina, getting ready to join us in just a couple of seconds here, and I will bring her up. Very excited to introduce you to her. Really focused in this space on bath items, so you're looking at small batch, locally sourced, amazing for the environment kind of materials that are going into all of her products. And she's really focused on as little waste as possible for all the packaging, which is really beautiful. On top of the fact that the products are just really awesome. I think that's the most important thing for you to know. But I'm excited for her to be able to share her story with you. She's learned a lot of lessons along the way of making her business. She's been in business for 6 years, but she's been making these body products for 12 years already. So I'm excited for you to meet Christina. I'm going to bring her up on stage right now for us. Hi, Christina, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Well, thank you so much for joining me and agreeing to this interview. I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about who you were and what your life was before owning the business. What's your story?
So I went to college at the University of Minnesota for child psychology, and I did a 2-year teaching license program when I was living out in the Midwest with my family. And I started teaching, loved teaching, and then I had my own children and opted to stay home with them because of my counterparts, their father's work schedule and travel and all of those things. We just thought it best for our family I stay home. And that was when I started kind of dabbling into my own skincare. My 2 older kids had super sensitive skin, and I just did not like the research that I was doing on the ingredients in some of these products that were being marketed for children and families. And so I, kind of my child psychology degree gave me a really strong research foundation. So I love reading and researching and learning. So I started, trying to kind of delve into, what are the ingredients and what do you really need? What does your skin need? What does your body need? It doesn't need alcohol. It doesn't need a lot of these ingredients that were in these products that were kind of counterproductive. A moisturizer with alcohol in it isn't really a moisturizer. It's going to dry you out. So I started formulating basically just oil-based anhydrous type products. And I've done that for the children with different salves and body lotions and butters and things like that, creams and stuff, balms, those types of products for quite some time. And we moved about 6 years ago, and I was finally able to get into a space where I had room that I felt comfortable delving into the soap. I had always wanted to do it, and cold process soap can be a little tricky with the chemicals that we use. So I wanted to make sure I had adequate room and for safety and things like that. So I was lucky enough to find a spot where I have a little workshop now and a large enough kitchen that I'm comfortable, making all of the things, and started doing soap, as I said, about 6 years ago. And I love it. It's really become my creative outlet. Soap batter is my artistic medium. So
They're also beautiful.
Thank you. And I want to make great things that make people happy, that, you use it. It's a nice treat for you. And as a mom, it's hard to really treat yourself. You're always taking care of everyone else. And even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes every day in the shower, and that's the only time you get to give yourself a little bit of self-care, you need to be using beautiful things that are great for your body that you can enjoy. Um, it's one of the few things as moms, I feel like we can genuinely treat ourselves every day to good quality things. So that's where I'm coming from with everything that I create. I want to make products that make people happy, make their skin feel good, and feel good about, the minimal waste. Because I think about that being a mom, so much trash and things. So I really try to limit the amount of single-use plastics that I use, and minimal packaging, and reusable. A lot of my packaging is completely reusable. So that's my goal, my focus for my building my business. It's kind of taken on a life of its own. It started off as a hobby, and it's grown and grown, and that's so exciting for me to have built that from scratch. Which is how all of my recipes start. I do the research and reading, and I did a certification program through the Natural School of Skincare, which is a UK-based program that delves into the preservation systems for water-based products and how to make those synergized and, add in those additives that are good for you and balancing the pH so it's perfect for skin and things like that. And hair care too. I love doing hair care, and my shampoo bars are one of my absolute favorite products.
Oh, they're amazing. And honestly, one of the things, and I'm going to be putting this in the review that I put up for the shampoo bar that I got from you, because the last one that I had tried, it just left almost like a little residue. Do you remember back in the day, the Irish Spring commercials where they would put it on the glass, the shower glass, and prove that it didn't leave behind a residue? Because compared to other bars, that was a hesitancy for a lot of people. They didn't want to use them because they felt like that. That just a little bit sticky on the other side. And I feel like a lot of other shampoo bars have done that to me, but yours definitely does not. It actually comes off feeling clean. And it's interesting that you're thinking about the chemistry that goes into it, because what a lot of people don't think about in the products that they're getting off the shelf from the big corporations, but a lot of it is for stability. It's because they want it to live for extended periods of time so that they can just make massive quantities of it and ship it out. And that has nothing to do with how good it is or how effective it is for you personally to experience, and everything for their profit machine.
Absolutely.
So
And to
yeah,
get back to your point with the mass quantity, I don't make mass quantities. I'm making them small batches. I pull things from my wholesale accounts and things like that locally. If it's not within made within a certain window of time, I don't like leaving things out. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. I'll pull them and use them for myself, or my family will use them. But I like, everything to be as fresh as possible. Because I feel like that's where you're getting the best quality is in
absolutely.
those, they don't have time to oxidize and things like that. Which, like you said, you're getting a lot of different preservation ingredients that I have not found personally to be necessary. Especially on the scale, I'm happy doing a smaller scale. I'm not looking to mass produce what I'm doing because I feel like that definitely can compromise your quality.
Absolutely. And so have you ever done a stability study on your stuff to know how long it lasts? I love
So
that.
I have jars that I test all of my things. Everything is pH tested. All of my preservatives are tested long. I have shampoo bars that have been on my shelf for over 2 years, and they still have a nice scent to them. And I can still pull one right off of there and use it as if I would use a brand new one.
Nice.
And the quality is still the same. I also don't add a lot of water to a lot of my products. If I don't, the point is water is something we pretty much all have access to. You don't need 90% water in your shampoo. You can add your own water to my bar. You're adding the water. Same thing with the solid soaps versus liquid soaps. You're paying for water. You're
Yep.
paying a lot of money in some instances for water. So a lot
And
of
for
my
packaging.
products completely omit water because it's not necessary. It's used to make the product go farther. It's used to increase the longevity of the product, but it's really not necessary.
Absolutely. Well, and from a psychological standpoint, people look at this bigger jug and they think they're getting so much more, but then they need to use so much more each time. And so we've been duped from the marketing standpoint of bigger is better, but then you also have to contend with all of the packaging and the water that goes into creating the packaging that's hurting the environment and all of the other chemicals for the packaging. So it's just so important for us to get back to these and whenever possible being really hyper local. So anybody who's in the capital district being able to order from you and having that hyper local service, all of those resources coming from local areas and supporting that local economy is so important in so many
It's
different ways.
It is. It's huge. You're really, and as much as I can source locally, I'm very lucky. I have a lot of customers and small businesses. I buy my beeswax that I utilize for a lot of my products from a local apiary, and you can't buy with the quality that I'm getting local from the local beekeeper. You can't buy it that way. And if you are finding it, it's extremely expensive.
Right.
Um, so giving back and trying to work within what I have available locally is fantastic. I grow a lot of my own botanicals that I infuse my oils with, or I source them from local farmers or markets, things like that, which is of course I love doing that. That's fantastic to be able to get such awesome. I was gifted some hops this fall, and
Ooh,
that was a chat like, what am I going to do with it? So I infused oil and I made a grapefruit and hop soap, and it so bubbly from the hops is a little sticky. I'd never worked with it before, so it's got a little sugar content. So those bars were super duper bubbly because a little bit of sugar adds extra bubble. So it's fun working with, different botanicals and plant-based ingredients too, and sharing that with everyone. Like, how cool, right?
that's awesome. That's awesome. And what a way to build community too, to be able to connect to all of these other small businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I have a lot of fantastic connections within the small business community, and we're able to really, collaborate and work together. And I'll be putting out some massage candles this spring, and I'll be working with a local candle maker to pour them. I formulate the base. I don't pour candles. That's not for me. I tried, but it's not for me. Not everything's for everyone.
For sure.
Candles aren't my jam. I know a lot of people do it really, really well. So, I collaborate and work with other, with other makers to come up with different, fun products for my customers and a lot of times for theirs as well.
That is awesome. I love that. So take us back to 7-year-old you, itty bitty you. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I was like a nature girl from, very early on. My grandmother was, big into flowers, and every year we would plant a garden. So I really always enjoyed that and being able to bring that, love of nature and love of, flowers and botanicals and, incorporating all of that into what I do. And basically my entire line of products is plant-based. I don't use, other than beeswax and honey that I have gathered from either the local apiary or my own bees that I've had. I'm not using any animal byproducts, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Lots of people do. I just have opted not to. I've opted to go with the more plant-based products.
Well, I
So
feel like that provides inclusivity too, because anybody who's vegan can feel comfortable getting your products, which is really important.
it is, and you
Although I
don't
don't
always
know that beeswax
yeah.
falls into it.
And everybody's different how they view beeswax. We need bees.
Right.
Bees are essential to everyone in our life and the way we live. So I am super comfortable supporting a local apiary that I know is very, very ethical and takes excellent care of their little critters. And is trying to support orchards and things like that in our area, in our own communities. I know he places bees all over our community at different locations. So I feel like, supporting those kind of farms is helping, the plants. We need to have the bees for the plants. So
I'm going to write myself a note because I would love to find out more about that particular farmer and maybe even interview him.
yeah.
That would be amazing. I mean, as a scientist, I definitely can think about the ways that things can be sustainable when they're taking all of those resources from bees, and ways that we've seen people just exploit those poor creatures that are doing such hard, really integral work for everything. I mean, our food chain collapses without them. So we got to take care of them.
Yeah, it's so important. It really, it is. And like I said, I understand the vegan perspective on, and I don't, discount that in any way. But for me, for plants, for, what we need for, to sustain our food sourcing, we have to have
Yes,
them. So if I'm able to, buy beeswax and honey and things like that locally and support those programs, I think that's so important.
absolutely.
And there's plenty of
So
things without any beeswax and without any honey in them, but
right. Well, and I feel like that's such a great point that you're making. When you're supporting them, they can make more. They can take better care of even more bees. They can make even
yes,
more of these areas. So
yes,
it's almost like using a tree but planting one.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, keeping bees, I did so for a few years, is not easy work.
I
Those
bet.
little critters require a lot of love and attention that you maybe don't even realize that they need. It's really a labor of love, because even at what they sell and the cost of those products is not reflective of the amount of work and time and energy that goes into maintaining and caring for them properly.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure we could
Yes.
do an entire episode
Oh,
to talk
for
more about
sure.
that.
It is very so, again, that was not for me.
Right. We have to know our limitations.
I've tried a lot
That
of
wouldn't be
different
for me. I
things.
think I would just freak out.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's very climate dependent and things like that. The weather can really,
Yeah.
mix things up. So, definitely a
Yeah,
challenging profession, if you will, or hobby.
for sure. So what brought you to start your business?
I wanted
I
to,
guess really in your introduction, you were talking about it from the standpoint of understanding the stuff that was in everybody else's that was on the shelf, right?
it's a combination of that, making sure I'm, have the best things for my own family. That's where I pretty much start with everything I make. We use every single product that I make.
That's awesome.
It goes on all my, my kids use everything. And, I want what's best for my children. That's what started me on this journey in the first place. In addition to that, I want to be able to have that flexibility and time with them. I had to pick my kids up today. They had a half a day. I was able to pick them up, take them to lunch, spend a little quality time with them, and and then be back on for a podcast at 2. So I love the flexibility of it. So I can be there for my kids and not be locked into a corporate America type job. And I love
Absolutely.
teaching, so I've been able to utilize those skills with the workshops that I'm offering at different
Oh, yeah.
locations. Yeah. So I love being able to share what I do and show people how to make soap. And everybody's always worried, like, oh, I'm not doing it right. When you get to the design portion, just let it go and enjoy it. And pick your colors. And it's still soap. If you paint a canvas and it doesn't come out, you're not going to hang it on the wall. If you make a soap and it's not exactly designed how you want, it's still usable. It's still
True.
soap. You put it in your shower, nobody's even going to know. You make a beautiful one, and then set it next to your fancy sink, and then you look at
Exactly.
it. Or
Right.
you make one that's not so perfect, and there's really no right or wrong. So I've really enjoyed delving into that and being able to continue teaching, but just in a different capacity.
Oh, I love that. And I would say, as a former educator myself, when it comes to entrepreneurship, teaching, and all of the skills that you have to be a good teacher, cross reference and apply analogously to being an entrepreneur very easily. You have to be organized. You have to be a self starter. You have to be going out and getting your own resources, sadly. You have to be the one that's making sure that you're keeping yourself accountable to the pace that you're keeping, and making sure that you're reflecting on your success and all of those things. And nobody is going to force you to do that as an educator, because they don't have the bandwidth. The only thing they're going to do is judge the outcome, because that's easy. But
Right.
I mean, I
Yes.
really feel like every job that I have done could relate back to those same skills that I required as a teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is really, you have to be able to, get yourself moving. And I make a lot of lists. I'm a list person. So, and I'm
Too.
a generation of handwritten lists.
Me
So
too.
and it helps my brain to organize itself. So I do a lot of list making and, objective goal setting, things like that, short term, long term goals, just like you would in the classroom for your students. So yeah, definitely, the planning and all of that that goes into being an educator also is definitely very, user skills that you need for running a business.
That's awesome. So, in terms of entrepreneurship, what would you say is the hardest part?
You're a one person show for the most part. This is my show. This is my business. This is me. My business is me and vice versa. So, I put a lot into it. It's a because I am very driven and motivated, it's very hard to be able to step back. So just kind of, okay, I don't need to be working at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night because I'm home and I have 1 ounce of energy. So I have to be able to really differentiate, where to give myself breaks and allow myself a moment of pause. And I'm responding to messages. This morning at 6:30 when I got up, I had a couple of messages from a wholesaler and different things like that. So I like to be on top of that. However, I also have to balance out, taking my own time and giving myself some self-care. So, and making sure I did this so I could stay home with my kids. I don't want to be missing their things because I'm overcommitting for work.
I can definitely relate to that. And it's interesting because when in my last role, I had a team that it was pretty large, a little over 50, and it was so easy to be good to them. But then I never extended those same graces to myself. And I try and remind myself of that through the entrepreneurship journey of, hey, you're your own boss and you're a good boss to other people. Maybe you could try doing it for yourself too.
That's one of my on my goal list. One of my lists for the year is, yeah, like being mindful. You've got to really be mindful of your time and value that. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
value to your time and your energy and where you put that focus. And I feel like if you overdo it with the business, and don't take good enough, you'll burn out. And I definitely
for
don't
sure.
don't want that. So this year, my goal is to be a little more self-absorbed, if you will, and mindful of my time and make sure I'm taking those breaks and because I have worked so hard to build this, I don't want to burn out and be working 80 hours a week because I could.
For
I make
sure.
over 100 products now. I could be.
Wow, that's
I
a
could be.
lot.
It's a ton because I can't just do one, I couldn't just have like one or two shampoo bars. I got to have six. Everybody likes something different.
Well, but once again, that comes down to you being so inclusive. I really feel like your brand is very inclusive because of the things that you're capable of doing. There's something for everyone. If they go to your shop, they're going to find something that they're going to love.
I like to think I really think I've been able to accomplish that, especially this past in 2023. I really introduced some products that I'm super excited for that I really feel are, not everybody, how many people have approached my booth and your stuff's beautiful, but I don't use soap. And I'm like, okay.
At all?
Like,
Okay.
ever? But, if you don't use solid, you're not acclimated to using a solid bar soap. I get that. I respect that. You've grown up using shower gels. Why don't you try a body butter? Why don't you try a lotion? But there's a lot of different other things that, really maybe things that you're used to using, and, maybe kind of step it up a little bit, with the quality, things like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. Well, and the ethical nature of it and the packaging, and there's so many pieces that go into even that thing for that swap,
Yeah.
which is awesome. So,
Yeah.
what is your favorite part though of owning your own business?
I love making. I love the creative portion of it. I sit down and, you know, draw out my designs for all of my soaps. Granted, they don't always match up, and sometimes I don't. I don't do any design until I'm in the moment pouring. So really just the creativity I allow myself to have, and like you said, it comes out, it's soap. Even when it's not perfect, it's perfect. It works. It's a usable, consumable art.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. And I feel like there's creativity in every aspect of what entrepreneurship really is. And people underestimate how much time you need to just be quiet and think and allow those creative pieces to flow. And we want to be in this run, 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 especially when we're leaving corporate. And we have this expectation of, well, every single minute of my day better be busy. That's not the best thing for an entrepreneur because you don't get the time to be able to just relax and look at something unrelated and be like, hey, that gives me this great idea. And you get to go take care of adding that into your repertoire.
Yeah, the creative. It does take, I mean, sometimes I'll be kind of stumped, and I do it. It takes me time, I've got to come up with these thoughtful names, and how do I want the colors, and what scents for each season, and deciding what people might or might not like, and following trends, and seeing, what's the color of the year, and I want to make sure I'm using peach fuzz this year because that's the color of the year, things
Right.
like that. A lot of different kind of planning components, if you will. It's a little more complex, which I enjoy, and I love that.
Yeah.
And you really can make it as complicated or as simplistic. I could go simpler and do some basic things, but the design and things like that are what I really, really love, as well as, the formulating is design as well,
Yeah.
Which ingredients you're going to be using. It's similar to, when you're cooking and making your own recipe and add a little bit of this, and you want to add a little bit of that, and things like that. So that is, fun, but it definitely requires some legwork,
Yeah.
to figure all of that out.
And time, but it's so worth investing it. And it's interesting because a lot of people will tell you, gosh, you can make it easier on yourself or whatever when you're talking about things. And I've definitely gotten that feedback once or twice with my partner being like, you could have gone an easier way. Yeah, but what's the fun in that?
That's, there's a lot of companies, they offer like bases, you can order a lotion base or a beard.
Right.
I like to get all the oils and try them all and decide what goes well with this and what goes with that, and what properties each of them have. And I'd like to be able to offer, if people ask questions, I want to be really knowledgeable. I don't want to go, well, I just, I ordered the base from someplace and added some fragrance to it, and, a little bit of this or a little bit of that. And here it is. I can speak to every single component and why. What is the purpose of this and this product, and what is this going to do? And I really look for that purpose in each individual ingredient that I utilize, as well as the packaging that I use. What do I have to have, and what is, can I leave out? What, and editing.
Right. Well, and editing. Speaking of that, always having too many words and trying to put a few fewer to make sure that we keep everybody focused. Oh my
Right.
gosh.
Yep. You want it to sound great. You want, like, I'm, working on enhancing my product descriptions, because it's so hard online for customers to really, for anybody to really kind of get like your vibe. If they don't live here and they haven't been to one of my local markets, they haven't touched and smelled. So I want to try and bring things to life. And that, that definitely requires, some time and energy, and self-editing, and not overdoing it and being too wordy, but still sounding great and enthusiastic and exciting for people.
Absolutely. Well, and your website is beautiful. You do an excellent job putting all of that together.
I have a wonderful person that assists me with that now. I'm very, very, very lucky. I was able to add someone to my team this year to help with my website development and enhancements. So prior to that, I had been doing all of the things myself. So that was an exciting addition to my team for the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So while we're talking about adding that person, what was your experience with the hiring process? Did you find them and their skill set first and then kind of fit them in, or did you have a need and start sourcing?
So Chelsea is my website person, and I can, provide her info too. She's Rise Empowerment, and she does website design for small businesses like me. and we actually met at a class our children were taking together, and we just clicked, and we just were chatting mom friends. And then, she told me what she did, and I told her what I did, and it just really worked out fantastic. We became friends first, and then she was like, I can totally help you. I can totally do this for you. So, and then she really dove right in, and it's been awesome. Such a great experience. I was very, very lucky. But that's the mom component. You find some cool mom friends that you can collaborate with, and build up that network is amazing.
Oh, I love that. And it's so much better to do that, have that organic conversation lead into that support instead of feeling like you're pandering and talking to strangers and stuff like that. When you're a small business, it's very personal. Every single interaction you have over the course of the day.
It is. And your budget's limited. I mean, that is what it boils down to. I don't have, this is me, I don't have an endless budget. So when you're shelling out, I mean, these services aren't inexpensive. So when you're shelling out your money, you want it to go as far as it can, and produce the quality, as much quality as you can, because it's not advertising costs and all of the things that go into it. You really have to be selective and conscious of where you're spending. And some places you don't really know. I get approached regularly from different marketing firms that are looking to jazz up my things, but I don't know them. So being able to build connections with your local community and find people that you're face to face with, and you can trust because you've met them and you know them, and you meet their family, or your kids are friends, and that's nice. That's nice to be able to do. So I would say that has been really something that I've tried to incorporate and focus on too, is finding people within my own network and local that I'm able to collaborate with. Has been a big resource for me personally, as well as my professional component. We're all like, we're a mom's group. Like, we get it. Your kid's sick. No problem. We can push off till next week if whatever it may be. It's nice. Where if it was somebody you didn't really know, it's kind of hard to. They're like, oh, she's just blowing it off.
Yep.
I'm not like that.
Yep, exactly. Oh, and I can definitely attest to the fact that you were so supportive when I was dealing with illness and everything else that was going on. Oh my gosh, there was so much going on. So, and it's definitely, you walk your talk 100%. The moment that we met and we started collaborating on things, you were an early adopter right away with what I wanted to do to be able to help small businesses. And I think one of the biggest challenges for me is that I don't want to be another burdensome bill on a small business. I want to figure out how to share and talk about them, but not have to charge a lot for them, which is the reason why I love the idea of this podcast. I'm hoping that this can lead to some really great organic traffic for people over time. And I liked the holiday gift guide for that reason too.
Oh, I love that.
And it was so much fun. Like I'm not a graphic design person, but I was in Canva, like, I was so excited going through all the things.
I'm obsessed with Canva. Canva is another resource that for a small business, I highly recommend getting in there. It's a little intimidating. It was for me at first but once you get going on it, it is so easy to really just kind of zoom through and put together your flyers and have them look really professional. Be able to put together some very nice pieces for promoting and marketing and things like that. And not have to spend a fortune. Again, you're on a budget, you're on a cheap sometimes, every month is different. There's no guaranteed amount of sales every month. So as much as you can do for yourself and easy and not hard and still have it look professional, I think is important.
Absolutely. So if there was one side mission that you would hope to support through your work, what would it be?
I do a lot of work with supporting within the community, different children's organizations, food, our local food pantry I support, and different animal charity opportunities, rescues, things like that I do donations for annually, usually at least a couple times a quarter. We also support a group over in Uganda that is trying to build a sustainable village community for the people that live there that don't have a lot of resources and have food shortages regularly. So we're purchasing animals and buying supplies, animal feed, things like that. I collaborate with a couple other friends, customers, people that I know to work to supply, as much as we can to help out. They're building gardens and planting an orchard and collecting cows and sheep and really trying to build that sustainability. So I try and support those types of organizations as much as possible.
That's amazing. So you have both really local focus and a little bit more global focus at the same time. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, I try to do a little bit, like I said, locally, I'm based in Johnsonville. So we have Scotticoke has a food pantry, our little local church. They were able to provide 50 full Thanksgiving dinners, 50 or 60 full Thanksgiving dinners to families and right in our community, children my children go to school with, etc. So I really like to be able to support that is huge. I never want kids to not have food. That is a
Yeah.
huge mission close to my heart, and the animals too. I'm an animal lady for all of eternity. I grew up with horses, and I have a huge Italian Mastiff, and my cat, and we have some rare breed chickens. So I definitely, try to support those types of causes, and yeah. And then
I
again, like
love that.
the Uganda group that I work with. So yeah, a little bit local, national, and then also international.
That's awesome.
A little, as
Great
much as I
balance.
can, and we do a lot of my
Yeah.
kids do a lot of volunteering for different things. I'll be at my older kids are having a big, charity event tomorrow at school. So I'm doing a big basket for that, and I'll be over there putting in some hours with the kids, and so that's a lot of fun too to be able to give some time as well.
I have definitely found that flexibility the most important for me. The fact that if I am going to support something with, a local organization, nonprofit, anything else like that, which I'm involved in 3 at this point, and continuing to add them on, because once you have the time, when they say, "Hey, I need your talents for whatever," if I'm going to help with a website, or I'm going to help with data, or Canva, make some advertisements for
Mhm.
them, or videos, or something like that. Gosh, that's so easy for me. Of course, I want to do that. I want to help you. You're doing great things, and so then I think the hard part for me is knowing where to draw the line on the things that are in that way, because unfortunately they're not making money for the business. So I do have to be a little cautious, but I just want to say yes to all of them, quite frankly.
I try as hard as I can, to promote them, within like my network, for other people to help, support as well. But yeah,
Sure.
you definitely, and sometimes it's, making things, sometimes it's, just I'll put together a little set or something like that, and let them do a silent auction or something. So, just what I can, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of different organizations. And I feel like as a small business, it really is super important to be able to give back as much, to those groups that you feel, are close to your heart. The
Yeah,
ones that, if I could support anybody, when you get into a role where you're able to, it really does feel good to be able to give back.
absolutely. So setting up a business, I mean, I just went through it so recently, and then the operating of it day to day, there's so many things that get in the way in terms of, regulatory, but then even blocks with social media accounts, and whether or not you have a personal account or a business account, and who's going to charge you for your business account, even though you're a business of one and you really technically shouldn't be paying business prices and all of those kinds of things. If you could change one thing, I make you ruler of the world for the day, you have your magic wand and you can change one thing about starting a business or operating it day to day, what would it be?
Oh, that's hard. Um, there's so many, with my business, it has kind of transitioned itself from i- a hobby to a business kind of on its own, for me, I've been very lucky to, have resources. So I guess building up your resource pool for people that, are within your own network, is your, cousin's wife a paralegal and can help you do your LLC paperwork? Because that's complicated. That not complicated, but it can be. If you're not a paperwork person, which I'm not, there's certain things like that can be, there's a lot of those kinds of things, your taxes and, a lot of that.
And
Is kind
bookkeeping.
of, it's not, certain things like that are not for creatives.
Right. Right.
Number crunching, not my favorite thing.
Right.
So I guess knowing your strengths and knowing
Yeah.
where you need support, I guess,
Yeah.
and if I could have a support team for all of my weakness areas, just kind of
Yeah.
here we are to help you do the thing. I'm lucky I have an awesome family and support network, so that I'd say when you're starting out, yeah, like tap into who do you know? Is it that your friend from high school isn't she an accountant?
Right.
Things like that. Like who can help you with what? Who knows about the X, Y, or Z? Really, really kind of, finding those resources within your own network to help with that, business on a budget that you're shooting for.
Yeah, and in the startup phase, it has to be on a budget. And I mean, it doesn't have to be. You're certainly welcome to start it up and not have a budget, and then things can get out of hand very quickly.
They can-
But yeah, absolutely. So
knowing what to, and it's really kind of sometimes a crapshoot for lack of a better term. I'll spend money on marketing or, invest in, product development, and the product doesn't go. It's not, it's just I think people love it. People don't love it. Whatever it may be, whatever the reason may be, I don't ever necessarily know, aside from speaking to people. But, if I just could have all the answers and know what the right thing to do all the time, if I was master of the world, I would have all okay, now you're going to make this and everyone will love it. Go.
yeah, yep, yeah, a crystal ball. That would be
Ta-da.
perfect. So we all as business owners, I feel like, make decisions that sometimes flop, but sometimes they're embarrassing. Have you ever had a moment where you were embarrassed as a business owner? And it's okay if you don't want to share it. You can say yes.
I, I I have my kids with me a lot at different things. So I never
Enough
really I have a middle I have my two bookends that are pretty chill kids. They're conscious of what they say. My middle one, she's a doozy and she'll say pretty much anything that is on her mind without a filter. So she's zinged me a few times in front of people. So that's fun. And so just those everyday mom moments, but in a business setting where I'm like, I'm supposed to look professional, you're ruining it for me. And
Stop pulling back the curtain. I am the Wizard of Oz. Stop it.
yeah, like you're jacking me up over here with this. Uh, you know, I I try to be, pretty, it's hard because I'm a very outgoing person and I'm outspoken. So I try to, I have to rein that in a little bit as a business owner. I don't want to come across as offensive or, maybe not so PC to people. So, I do try and present in a professional way everywhere I go, because I never know, is this person work for the media, or does this person own a shop, or does this person recognize me from something or know me from something? So really, it's my business is me and I'm my business. So, you have to put that out 24/7. So I guess that is a challenge at times. So I'm sure
Yeah,
I have said or rubbed the wrong way at times. But
I think we all have. Yeah.
not a specific that I'm, nothing, like I said, I've been zinged by that 12-year-old quite a few times. She's something.
My youngest has gotten me a couple of times too, for sure. There's
Yeah.
no question.
Yeah.
Oh, so if customers could take away one thing about you, what would you hope it would be?
I guess how much I care. I really, I can't speak for other makers, but I know when I put out a product, it's because I genuinely feel that it will benefit people and it will make them happy. It will make their skin happy. I want people to enjoy. There's a lot of hard things in life, and something as simple as self-care and taking good care of your body and using good things, and drinking your water and eating a salad or whatever health, thing you're into. There's some real basic things we can do for ourselves, and um little moments of joy that you can find. And I hope that because I care about that, I want my products to make people happy. So
That's
when I'm putting
beautiful.
things out, it's not about my bottom line. It's about doing good things, doing the right thing, offering the right thing to people. And I do a happiness guarantee. I mean, if you're not happy, let me know. We'll fix that. We'll find just something to make you happy.
I
Because
love
not
that.
everything's for everyone. So that's really overall been my sweeping goal, is to use the best quality things and good practices, and do my best to achieve that.
That's beautiful. I love that. And the idea of gifting someone a couple of minutes of self-care and self-love, and it feels like such a gift from parent to parent. You deserve this couple of minutes to just enjoy your day and not feel guilty at all about where any of it came from, what the packaging did to the environment, what big mega corporation CEO got another yacht because you bought it. Like there's just so many different gifts that you're giving inside of that product. And I love that so much.
Yeah,
And
and
I definitely feel it
in
when I'm
50
using
years,
that.
my children aren't going to be sitting on a pile of plastic bottles because I was an
Yep.
irresponsible business owner that didn't care and just wanted to
Yep.
make money.
Yeah.
I love selling. I love being able to, more because I love what I do and I want to be able to continue doing it and continue offering, what I feel is the absolute best, quality that I can.
That's awesome. I love that so much. So, what is your vision for the future? I know that you said that you really enjoy where things are now and you're expanding. You have somebody that you're working with now and collaborating with. Do you envision getting bigger, going into a different space, scaling up at all, or kind of staying in a similar spot?
So eventually, one of my goals is to procure a little vintage camper and take my show on the road. So with
Oh, I
Bath
love
and Body products, with minimal packaging, without a lot of plastics, you run into concerns with a little pop-up rainstorm or weather and things
true.
like that. So I would like to be able to have a little boutique, a mobile boutique. And I would
Oh,
love
I
to be
love
able to
that.
redo a vintage camper. Oh my god, I would die. So that's one of my goals. I'm not looking to do like a brick and mortar. I do have space at my house to eventually upgrade to a larger studio. For right now, I'm very blessed with the space that I have. I did hire a part-time employee as well for this year, or well, the end of last year. So, to continue and hopefully be able to expand her hours as we grow. She is an amazing asset to my business. I was very blessed to find her because it is where I'm located and based at home. It is challenging to find help. But I did find like what I feel is like the perfect person, and she'll be able to kind of grow and expand with me because she's a mom too that's with
That's
her kids
awesome.
as well. So, we work together great like that. Um, so yeah, just I'm kind of slowly chugging along. I don't want to overdo it. I'm really honed in on some awesome markets for this upcoming market season. So that is a lot of fun. I love being able to get out into the community and do different events. I'm working with Saratoga Arts to be offered as
Awesome.
an adjunct instructor with different groups like Saratoga Arts, which is a great nonprofit. I work with Paint Hose on some different workshops and projects. Um,
Awesome.
so just kind of continuing on with that, and just hopefully meeting. I love meeting new people, love meeting other entrepreneurs and vendors, and just kind of getting out there. So that's where I'm at. I've set some micro and macro goals for myself for the year. So fingers crossed. Last year I pretty much nailed it. I hit just about all the goals I had set for myself. So that's
That is
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so for all of those pop-ups and the classes that you're teaching, are those also on your website or should people go to your social media for those?
Both.
Okay.
Certain ones will be on my website. Saratoga Arts hosts them themselves, and I'm an adjunct instructor there, so that you register through the Saratoga Arts website. Tia Shoke Farms will be also offering a workshop next month, and they'll be doing their registration through there. And again, those will be on my social media, so you can check both places. I also usually have an updated calendar of events right on the website too. And I'll be working on kind of honing that, so hopefully we'll have some links and things like that that people can locate. And again, always message me. I also do private workshops. So if anybody wanted to host one, there's some availability with that. And that's a lot of fun as well to kind of get together a little group of girlfriends or mixed, guys and girls. I've had some men that have really enjoyed taking my soap workshop too. And then they get to make their own, the scent that they like.
Oh, I love that. Have you ever had somebody do it for like a birthday party or something?
I've had like women's get to, like a woman's like a wine and soap, like a sip and soap. Um,
Oh,
But
that's
no,
cute.
yeah. I've expanded my personal offerings, the past year more, just kind of growing a little bit at a time. So, um, yeah, so that's like, I love doing those as well.
Is there anything else I haven't asked you that you wish you had the opportunity?
I don't think so. I just like I said, I really love what I'm doing, and I'm so thankful that I had this opportunity to chat with you. I don't always it's hard. I don't like to be like ever braggy or boastful. I'm very pretty modest about I try to be pretty modest about what I do. Um, so this is a great opportunity to just chat and talk about what I do. So I'm thankful. Thank you very much for offering me this super fun opportunity to just chit chat about all the different things that I work on and I'm doing with my business. So
Absolutely. And thank you so much for agreeing to be on here. It's been such a pleasure hearing all of this. And I can't wait to share it with people who see it. And for anybody who's watching this, please make sure that you are visiting farmamasoapsllc.com or farmamasoaps.com.
it's it's a challenge. It's farm-mama-soaps at myshopify.com.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And I will make sure that
I'm
I'm
going to
putting
try
all
and
of those in here.
declunk that. I'm going to be doing a little mini rebrand pretty soon. I'm working on getting my LLC changed over. So the new business name will be The Farm Mama Soaps and Sundries to be more inclusive of all of the offerings that I have, because it's certainly not just soap.
Right.
So that'll be
That is
rolling out.
awesome.
That'll be rolling out this spring, and I'm working on a new logo. So just a little changes, but nothing big.
Okay, perfect. Well, enough to keep us excited and coming back for more. And everybody, please make sure that you are following them on socials. I'll make sure that that's all linked here. And Christina, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you
Thank
taking all the
you.
time.
Thanks
I hope
so
you have a
much.
fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thanks. All right. Thank you guys so much. I hope that you enjoyed this couple of minutes with Christina. I look forward to our next episode. We do have 2 other small businesses in the pipeline for next week. Thank you so much for taking the time. And don't forget to check out all of the amazing small businesses on the rest of the Tiny But Mighty podcast, and make sure that you are subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. And if anybody is interested in supporting the success of this podcast and continued success of using this StreamYard software that we are using for this, if you want to head to the link tree, which I'll post into the comments, and donate to support to that, I would be very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Please make sure that you are subscribed to all of our channels wherever you are watching this. If you could hit a little like, and also make sure to follow our guest on their socials. We'll make sure that we're linking that in all of the notes and comments, depending on which platform you're looking at this on. If you want to support the work that we're doing to support small business, please visit the link tree in our bio to contribute to one of the campaigns or our general fund. As always, don't forget to shop small whenever possible. We'll catch you in our next episode. Bye for now.